All right, we've just finished Twisted Fire Starter. And man, that is a brutal punishment. I mean, in all fairness, he did, you know, set his armory on fire, but it is, however, a pretty accurate representation of Nilfgaard's response to law breaking during wartime. They are very much a take no prisoners kind of group.
Looking for trouble.
Well, like I mentioned before, it's always good if you can grab ingredients in bulk. So anytime you find a spot where there's, 3, 4, 5, if you're lucky and you land somewhere near an herbalist's hut, you can get 15, 20 different ingredients all in one spot. It's a good idea to grab it. It's just, the fewest steps between A, B, and C. And it really does become critical to have all of these ingredients, honestly, fairly early in the game as you start finding more and more oil formulas and decoction formulas. It just is really hard to get through the game without that, especially on this higher difficulty. Well, there's a mission here I want to engage, but I want to get a few more ingredients that are just hanging out in this farm area before then. I feel like this is a good time for a joke, maybe like the Witcher's job is to root out evil wherever he finds it, or he tears evil up by the roots. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Good woman, is this the road to Vizine?
So some of the oils enhance your abilities, breathing underwater, resistance to certain attack types. The kind of standard RPG elements. Other oils, though, can be applied to your weapons. So you carry 2 swords, a silver sword for monsters and a steel sword for humans. And there are oils for both, but primarily the majority of oils are for monsters, so they are applied to the silver sword only. And they're applied based on the monster class. So there are a number of different classes. There are elementals, hybrids, insectoids, just a whole number of classes of monsters, and depending on the class, you need a specific oil to increase your damage against them. So again, we've got some pretty common RPG elements in it, but they're all used in a very cohesive way that makes the game really feel alive and inspires you to see the details around you, and obviously leads to you running around a fairly barren farm picking all of the random flowers you find. Another of these features I really like is the weather mechanics. You'll notice right now the weather's taken a turn for the worst, and there's a storm going on, and you can see the trees are being blown around, and you can hear the gust of wind around me. It's a really nice touch they added that helps the world feel just very immersive. And what's nice is it can catch you really anywhere you're traveling in these lands, and it just adds, nice little extra detail. All right, so let's obviously check out what we can find here. Also having a slight problem trying to open that chest back there. I'm just helping people declutter their life, and obviously these items do not bring them joy. Hi, nice to meet you. Don't mind us. We're just gonna look through your items here.
Sleep, child. Sleep. Sleep will lend you strength.
Okay, I do feel a little more guilty stealing from a sick child's home, but let's go ahead and start this.
Greetings.
A witcher? You see the notice? Hear about the well?
A well? First I've heard. There a problem?
Aye. 'Tis haunted. Has been for a good 20 years.
20? So why'd you put out a notice just now?
'Cause earlier on we drew our water from the river. But so many corpses floating in it after the battle it's turned noxious. My daughter Mandy drank half a pitcher. Fell dreadful ill, can't keep nothing down. She grows worse by the day. Herbalist claims you fight a fever with drink. And not beer nor cider, but water. Clear, pure water. And where am I to get that if not from the well? But first, the ghost's got to be driven away. And it don't let any man near.
This ghost. Describe it for me.
Well, it's awful frightening. Awful.
I meant, what does it look like?
It looks like a woman, but fresh from the grave. Wears a dirty dress, all rags, its skin flaking off its bones, and it howls like it's suffering.
Some wraith. Or maybe an alp.
If you don't wallop it, Master, if you don't take care of it, that is, it'll come kill me daughter.
All right, we're obviously going to help this guy, but I want to show you one of these other mechanics. Let's talk about my reward.
I feel for you, but this is my job, so let's talk about my pay.
Something not right with the coin.
So this mechanic lets us negotiate for our rate. So I'm going to put this in the middle.
If you could drop your price a bit, I'm sure we'd agree.
And you'll notice his annoyance level went up.
If you could drop your price a bit, I'm sure we'd agree.
But then once we find a rate to agree on,
That settles it then.
you can get a few extra coins.
Fine, I'll help. Where's this well?
In Havel, a settlement on the heights. It's abandoned now. No one ventures there on account of the ghost being about. Drive it off. Please.
All right. Well, so in most of my playthroughs, I don't usually use that negotiation mechanic. You get a few extra gold, but I've never really felt like it's worth the time. Well, let's go. Let me show you how to look for different quests. So we've opened the menu, clicked into quests, and here we've got main quests, secondary quests, and then Witcher contracts are actually set up as a third option. And what we just got, the Devil by the Well, is actually a Witcher contract. So from here, you know, I could click on it, it'll show up on the map as my primary objective. And anytime I just forget, you know, what I should be doing or what I could be doing, I'll generally go there and look to see, you know, what's in the area, what I can do quickly for experience points or gold, whatever I need at the time. So for this playthrough, I'm actually going to work on trying to do as much as I can in each of the areas. This first area with White Orchard it's like the tutorial area. It's just getting your feet wet. There's not a whole lot of danger. There certainly is some. But I'm going to hang out here and try to gather everything I can. So we'll grab a few of these plants. And then this cottage to my right here, this is actually another side quest we can do. That's a pretty cute one. So let's go talk to this lady.
Lost your key, ma'am?
No, not me key. Me pan. It's always sat there empty, this hut. That is, till the night afore the battle. A man arrived, walked right in like 'twere his own. Was standing at me window, peering at the goings-on. He must avoid me, 'cause next I knew, there he was, coming my way. So, I grabbed me pan, for protection, see? But he just asks all polite, Gran, got any birch bark by chance? Lilac berries or even a few coals? Nay, says I. And you must be right daft to pester folk at night with such foolery. But I sees he ain't listening. Just staring at me pan like a magpie at a copper. Lend it to me, Gran. I'll give it back come morn. Baffled for what's he doing, frying in the dark. But I've got a soft heart, so I gave it to him.
Interesting. What happened then?
Afore dawn, another rode up to the hut. But come morn, only the first fella left, locked the door, hopped on his horse, and that were all I saw of him, and me pan. 'Twere old, black with soot, not worth much, I suppose, but I've no other. Will you help me, dearie? Bring an old widower pan. I could never break down that door myself. And in truth, I'm afeard to go in any road. Such a stench wafting out. Methinks the other fellow, well, that he's lying there.
Never taken on a pan contract. Fine, I'll go in, look around. You should wait here, just in case.
So one of the best things about this quest is that it all actually happens really close right here. So I just want to pick up what I can find. But so we're going to use a different sign this time. This is actually Ard. This is the ability to force. Well, that's it. It's essentially the Star Wars Force. So interestingly, art is one of the few signs you actually saw in the new Netflix Witcher show. Geralt uses art a few times and then uses Quinn once when he's battling in a crypt.
A corpse. Explains the stench. His throat. He was garroted. And some old scars. Kind of soldier might have.
What's that, dearie?
Nothing.
She'll notice while I'm using my Witcher sense, things that can be opened or picked up or part of the quest, they actually sparkle or they turn red.
The priceless frying pan. Scrubbed clean. Looks like the mystery man didn't need the pan so much as the soot off it to make ink, write letters.
But when I gab to myself, they say I'm going farming.
Documents, almost entirely burnt. A few pieces still legible.
And when you arrange to meet, you frickin' show up. I did, risking my life, and the entire blasted operation ended up standing there with my member in my hands, waiting for nothing. I thought the Nilfgaardian army was better organized than that, but you, illegible. Tell that blasted Lord General of yours that my companions don't hold grudges, so we won't break off negotiations. But since our old plan's gone tits up this time, we'll choose the time and place for the next meeting. Alright, apparently this meeting didn't go...
Found the pan, have ye?
Apparently the meeting didn't go quite as planned. Alright, well let's get this lady her pan back. And it looks like we picked
Cracked
up...
monocle. Interesting.
Okay.
Found the pan, have ye?
Okay, now it looks like we picked up everything. Let's just do a quick sweep here with Witcher Sense, make sure I didn't miss anything else. Alright, looks like we're good. There's a few items up there. Let's go ahead and give her this back.
Here, your frying pan.
Mine? But mine were black with soot. And I could see myself in this one if I wanted. But them years are past.
It was the soot the man needed. He scraped it off to make ink. Must have had an urgent letter to write. Urgently burned some other documents too.
And the other fellow?
Dead. Round up a few boys and bury him outside the village. Deep, so the necrophages don't dig him up. And take my advice. Don't mention this to the Nilfgaardians.
Hang about! You've earned a token of thanks. Here, son, for the road. Fry up a nice white mistress. Or a pipe.
Alright, baked apples. Now that's a reward right there. And some bread. Excellent. Alright, let's dive down and find some more ingredients. Apple juice. Man, she set me up for quite a picnic. So you'll notice I have a breath meter now since I'm underwater, and we're going to grab some ingredients. This is called buckthorn. Buckthorn is essentially like seaweed, so you'll only find it underwater. And that's actually one of the other cool details about The Witcher 3 is ingredients show up in some expected places, so you know where to look for it if there's something you need specifically. Alright, I'm not seeing it in my Witcher sense, but I can see it on my mini-map. There's a few more buckthorns under here. Although my breath is getting low, so I probably don't want to hang out too long. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab some more air. So another interesting characteristic is if you use a Witcher sense above water, you'll see further. Like this chest I couldn't see underwater, but now that, oh, see how far there's another one out there? When you're underwater, your view is limited. So sometimes when I'm going up for air, I'll also do a quick roundabout with Witcher sense to see if there's anything nearby that I may have missed. And finding hidden chests are, you know, probably the best way to expand what you can create, your crafting abilities and your oils and decoctions and things like that. So I just found 2 different manuscripts, which is awesome. And there's another chest out here, so hopefully there's a few more items I can pick up. And it didn't cost me anything, just a few moments. Look at that, another diagram. Just a few moments underwater. So the succubus decoction. Not sure what that does. Maybe it makes me incredibly attractive to people. It's been a while since I've manually saved, so let's do that. And to try to make the viewing experience a little better, I'm going to go through and edit out any of the times I go into the menu to save or reload or anything like that. I'm going to take those things out. You will hit glitches in The Witcher 3, so I don't want I don't want you to be watching every time something crashes. So at my current level, taking on level 5 wolves would be a bit of a pain, but there's a bit of a cheat here. If I if I have them follow me out to this group of Nilfgaardians, the Nilfgaardians are actually going to help attack, and then I can take the wolves on one at a time. But you can see what kind of damage these things do. And despite having played through this entire game 4 or 5 times now, I've never quite gotten. Oh, they're annoyed at me because I had my had my sword out. Oh, I was saying I've never quite gotten the timing right for fighting dogs and wolves. Well, let's go ahead and finish these guys off. You'll notice I'm not doing a lot of damage, but again, I've got, 3 other allies here. Temporary allies. Oof, I have to back out of this fight real quick. Death March slows down your ability to get health back, so I'm going to eat some of that bread and a little bit of chicken here I've got on me just to start bringing my health back. And I'm using Quinn as my primary sign that gives me, 1 attack I can take before I take damage. But really, with fighting on Death March, and honestly, this is the best way to play through the game because it forces you to learn these steps. You just got to learn the dance. It boils down to something as simple as, attack, attack, dodge, attack, dodge, Witcher sign. Where it gets complicated is when you're fighting multiple opponents or multiple types of opponents. Each of those dances is different, and each of those timings is different, because if you're fighting 4 wolves, well, if one just attacked you, then his steps are going to be slightly offset from the other 3 that haven't attacked you yet. So a lot of times the biggest complexity is trying to keep up with all of those different dance moves, essentially, in one fight. So let's go finish this last wolf off. She'll notice attack, dodge. I dodged right into his attack. That's excellent. Alright, there we go. So once you figure out the rhythm for an enemy type, you just want to learn that rhythm and then you apply it in every fight. And honestly, it's a lot of fun, and it involves a lot more thought than just hacking and slashing your way through it. When I first played The Witcher 3, I played it on medium or easy. It was a lower level, and I was allowed to hack and slash, just repeatedly mashing the attack button, because the damage you take wasn't enough. Essentially you're trading damage at that point, and the damage you gave was much more than the damage you would take from most opponents, so you could really just hack and slash your way through it. This honestly gave me a much better sense of accomplishment, because I felt like, well, no, I couldn't just smash a button to get through this. I had to, correctly anticipate the opponent's attacks and, maneuver around them. I'm going to grab a few more ingredients while we're out here.
Greetings.
Salutations. Alright, this is actually a pretty decent area to grab a few different ingredients, and some ones I'm going to want fairly early here. Well, while I run around and grab all this, let me give you just a little bit of the backstory on potions and how Witchers use them.
Any tidings from Vizima?
So Witchers are created. They are generally boys. There's only ever been one girl allowed into Kaer Morhen, and that's actually Ciri. But she didn't actually go through the Witcher process, not the real one. She wasn't infused with all of these horribly toxic, lethal chemicals. So boys are essentially adopted into the Witcher program. In some cases, there's a thing called the Rite of Surprise, which if you've watched the Netflix show, that's a very key detail in the show that you would understand. But if you haven't, the Law of Surprise means if a Witcher does something to save someone's life and they can't repay the debt, there's an old tradition in this realm called the Law of Surprise. And what that means is if you've saved the traveler and they can't pay you back, you can ask for the Law of Surprise, and when they get home, they will give you the first thing they come in contact with, the first thing they don't know they have, but they have, the first surprise they get. So it could be a new puppy, it could be a dandelion that's grown out in their front yard, and sometimes it can be the birth of a new child. In that case, the Law of Surprise gives the Witchers whatever that child is. So that's actually how they used to replenish their ranks. Now, by the time of The Witcher 3, Kaer Morhen has actually been sacked, and so the ability to create Witchers has been destroyed as far as most people know. So the Witcher 3 population has dwindled down to really just, a couple dozen Witchers, and even in the entirety of The Witcher 3, you're only going to encounter a few other Witchers. All right, so I didn't mention it because I was explaining the backstory to creating Witchers, but we just encountered an alchemist's hut. So you'll notice I got tons of different ingredients. That's an awesome place to wander into because you can grab a lot of ingredients all in a small area. Okay, this must just be a glitch because I've walked by it like 3 times. Oh, no, there it is. Weird. Okay, I was having trouble actually getting that one to give me the option to pick it. Well, this has been quite the score on ingredients. Let me grab a few more that are out here and just, do my due diligence. It really isn't a lot of fun. I mean, unless you're just like running around in circles and enjoying nature. It's not a lot of fun to pick all these ingredients, but it is incredibly beneficial as you get into the game. Especially because if you find a manuscript you want to use right away, having the ingredients to upgrade it immediately is just so much better than going, oh, I need, 15 of this ingredient that I've seen throughout the entire game, but I don't remember where I saw it. And the oil improvements in attack, I think it's 5 or 10% per level. So level 1 is like 10%, level 2 is maybe 20%, level 3 is 25%, something like that. But it's a pretty big difference. Just applying that oil can make a huge difference in a fight. So you definitely want to upgrade it as soon as you can. And like I said on Death March, I mean, you really want to take a lot of these advantages in stride. Otherwise, you're looking at experiencing Death March in the least enjoyable way possible. Oh, let's go talk to this guy.
Help a fellow traveler.
This will be fun.
What happened?
Monsters from the swamp. Folks said the road was fraught with peril, but I wouldn't listen. Got my comeuppance now.
Less moaning, more details. What happened, and how can I help? And remember, I don't work for free. Witcher's code and all.
Well, was on my way to the Black Ones to trade. Suddenly my horse got spooked, ran clear off the road. We hit a bump, I went flying and the horse and cart rolled on. Then I heard bubbling, neighing, slurping. Something came out from the muck, devoured Asher, hooves and all. No doubt my goods are still on the cart, but I'm too afeard to go and see. Thought maybe you. I'm most concerned about a little box. Bring it to me, I beg you.
Fine, I'll go. Let you know if I find that box.
All right, precious cargo. Let's go find this guy's box. So we're going to wander out into the swamp here, and by and large, the swamp is not where you want to hang out. You've got drowners, you've got hags. There are a number of enemy types that are not enjoyable, but frankly, the worst thing is the gas you'll encounter. So you'll see kind of around me here, there's big yellow plumes of gas. That will damage you immediately upon walking into it. And on Death March, you really don't want to take any extra damage. But it gives you one extra thing you're having to think about dodging around as you're in a fight. Now, I can blow it up if I use Igni, my Witcher sign for fire, but it will come back after like 15 or 20 seconds. So these are just, not fun areas to fight in. So before we start this, I'm just gonna go ahead and select precious cargo as my mission so that I can actually see where on the map it wants me to go and look for this box. So now I'm going to use Witcher Sense for two things. One, I want to see where the oh, I literally walked right by it.
Cart tracks. Rode off into the swamp.
So I'm looking for clues, but the second thing I'm looking for is enemies. So you'll notice in the background those circles. Those circles appear to let me know there are enemies in those directions. Essentially, when you're using your Witcher Sense, he's also honing in on his, he's focusing on what he can hear, and that's essentially sound waves, the image of sound waves, letting you know there are enemy types over in that direction. Well, let's start a fight with some drowners. I need the ingredients you get off of fighting drowners, so we might as well do it now. Oh, it's turned into a party. All right, let me back up here. All right, let me get back on point here. There we go. So you'll notice I misjudged the timing of my dodge a few times there, and that's unfortunate. That's as bad as being too late. Being too early means you don't get far enough out of the way of an attack, and you can't dodge again immediately. You have to. There's a certain timing to dodging as well. So.
What? Lost your nerve?
So most drowners, they leap backwards after you've hit them a few times, and their attack comes right after that. And attack. Oh, I didn't get far enough out of the way. Alright, well, I'm clearly rusty. It's been about a year since I've played through The Witcher. I'm just jumping back into it because, honestly, the show reminded me how much I enjoy the world of The Witcher. But I'm definitely going to have to improve on my efficiency in fights because I almost got wrecked by like 4 guys. It's not impressive. Alright, so I'm going to heal up, and we are back in the search area, so... we just got to find this box that's hanging out here somewhere. And it doesn't look like we've got any more enemies, but we'll grab a few more ingredients while we're in this area. Since I don't normally venture into swamps.
Here's the cart.
Oh, found it. Excellent. Alright, a few interesting odds and ends. Now you'll notice there's an arrow sticking out of that horse.
Carts riddled with arrows. Interesting. I should take a look around. An arrow. Didn't mention this.
So far, this is not what that guy told us about.
Square in the neck. Good shot. Either the merchant's got serious memory problems, or he's lying.
Alright, now to find the tiny box. See lots of things. Don't see a little box. Oh, here we go.
Must be that box he mentioned. Splattered with blood. Human blood.
Alright, let's head back and confront this guy over the true events of this particular murder. Because clearly something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Oh, and you find the box?
Yeah, found your priceless chest. And someone who looks an awful lot like a cart driver with an arrow through his neck. No dryads in these swamps, and never known a drowner or a water hack to use a bow. so lacking any other suspects, I'm guessing.
Watch out! Behind you!
Nice fake, man.
There's nothing behind me. I'm a witcher, I'd have heard it. Just like I can hear your heart, which is pounding, like a liar's. Best hope you're a better writer than you are a liar.
Alright, let's grab this guy and have a few more words with him. So I don't want to kill him, but I do have to knock him off his horse, which just means doing any damage to him. Oop. Running into some people there.
Come on now.
Weird glitch. He's standing up behind me.
Gotta get him out of here. Wake up. See? Can't run from the truth. Not even on horseback. Now who are you, and why'd you attack that cart?
Private First Class John Giermer, Temerian 6th Division, 2nd Regiment. Disbanded, but still active. Underground, in the woods. That was a medical transport. I'd be damned if it reached the Black Ones. And the medicine. Our lads could use it too. We've many ill among us. You let me go, and they might live, and fight once more for a free North.
Alright, I don't normally appreciate murder, but I am not a fan of the Nilfgaardians.
Fine. Go. And may you and your soldier buddies hiding in the bushes be victorious in your struggle against Nilfgaard.
You've a vile sense of humor. But you're a decent man. Here, the gold I promised. Use it well. Drink to the silver lilies, and to Foltest's memory.